Okay, well, don't you folks introduce yourselves and tell us about the farm, or just about the farm name and so forth, and where we are.
I'm Keith Batchelor.
I'm Ruth Batchelder,
I'm Charlie Batchelor.
and we are dairy farmers in the little town of Epsom, New Hampshire. And the name of our farm is Spooky View Farm. My son is the owner, and he milks around 50 animals.
I'm Ralph LeClaire. We own Barrett Hill Farm in Mason.
I'm Mark LeClaire. I'm the second son.
I'm Matt LeClaire. I'm, I guess, the first son.
And Sandy LeClaire, chief cook and bottle washer.
And I'm Beth LeClaire, Matt's wife.
And
And we have George.
And this is George. Yep, Beth and I. This is our youngest son, George.
I'm Martin Conley, and this is Hidden Meadows Farm, which part of it is Conley Brothers Dairy Farm. And this is my wife, Linda.
I'm Mike Conley, one of the sons.
I'm Pat Conley, the other son.
I'm Chris Conley.
when did you guys have serious thoughts and talks about this? Ralph, when did you start having some serious, concerns about transitioning and estate planning?
Well, I think that it was, 8 or 10 years ago when we started a more commercial operation. The strawberry operation got bigger. The cattle operation kept growing. And then we started to realize that there may be liabilities involved. Where should they fall? And then, about 8 or 10 years ago, I would say.
Was there, some event of either somebody coming home from college or a health issue? What kind of triggered this 8 year ago type of thing? Maybe.
Well, I think historically, in that both Ralph and I are from agricultural backgrounds, we recognize that there's a passing on of land generationally anyway. And this farm was established back in the 1700s, but the farm that I grew up in, Ashburnham, was being transferred. Ralph's homestead, again, was being transferred. So, and there were the generations before that were failing. And that, I think, really brought it home to us, mortality.
There's always been things in the back of all our minds. There's been some examples of farms that had no estate planning that failed because of it. There's always been, stories that we've got either through cooperative extension we've heard of, or through just agricultural news outlets and stuff that we've heard of. And, excuse me, so those things had always been weighing on us. Like my father mentioned, 10 years ago, again, as I was realizing, our own mortality a little bit more, and as the farm was growing, and with liabilities and things like that as we grew, it just seemed to fit in. No one single event, just a culmination of things.
I did look back upon my family farm, I think about that, and now, because there was no real direction, nobody to take it on, the farm operation died out, interest waned, land was sold. Now there's just really nothing left of the original farm, and it's a shame. And I didn't want that to happen.
Hopefully that our children can get the same things out of the farm as Mark and Matt had when they were children. And, those, hopefully we can teach them to appreciate and love the land as much as we do.
I went from my great-grandfather to my parents, to Matt and I, and hopefully to Matt's children, and maybe someday mine.
and just be able to keep this in perpetuity so that it can be passed along. We wanted to keep the farm whole. I didn't want to subdivide anything. I just wanted to keep what the core farm passed on. I wanted to keep it profitable, and I wanted to minimize the tax impact to my sons when this ultimately happens.
When did you start having serious talks with your family about estate planning and transitioning the business?
Probably 10 years ago, maybe a little more, when the boys started to take over the farm in earnest, and we thought they're going to really be here for good. And at that point, we decided that we should try to do something in a fashion that they wouldn't lose the equity that we had built up and they had built up in the farm.
Was there anything that really triggered it, like somebody graduating, or is there something that really caused you to say, well, let's do this? Or anything from the boys? Did any of you guys?
Well, in 1996 is when Mike and Patrick and myself formed an LLC, and that's kind of the point in time when we decided, well, we're going to be here. It went from being, run by my folks and us managing it, to the dairy operation, to us managing the dairy operation and owning it. And at that point in time, which was 13 years ago, I guess, that's when we kind of looked at the transition. How are we going to do it?
Actually, looking at all their college friends and watching how their family farms have dissolved was a great education. And I think a lot of it's due to non-communication with the generations. And we were discussing that this morning, even within our extended family, how some of the older generations don't confide in the younger generations. Okay, and we've always done that from day one, and that's most important. And how do you get a family to do that? I don't know.
Oh, I think we wanted to be able to transition without them losing anything. You hear about so many farms. The next generation takes over, and they can't really because they've lost so much in whatever it is, in inheritance taxes and things like that.
When did you start having serious talks with the family about estate planning and transitioning the business?
Dad and I were getting older. We never bought this farm thinking that any of our children would do it, but he took an interest in it.
Or what was the biggest challenge?
Well, I think taxes. I think we talked about the taxes and how it would affect us and Keith, and how the gifts, there's a lot of legal things there that need to be tended to with a lawyer, that's somebody that knows about that. For me, that was hardest, because if not, you're not careful, I guess, you have to pay a lot of estate taxes and things.